The Extraordinary Rendition of Janos Farkas. Chapter 41. The pale yellow washed over his face like the light from a ghoul's lantern. He clutched at his cell window. "Mustafa," he whispered, knowing that even whispers could be heard by microphones. "Mustafa." The silence of the graves was littered with groans, sobs, and rancid snores, but no Mustafa answered back. Spencer raised his face to the camera lens in his cell, snarled silently, and gave it the finger. Dylan Thomas' words flowed through his mind. "Do not go gently into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light." He looked for something to rage against, to vent his frustration on. A rat would be good. A big rat that he could kick like a football, bouncing it off the wall again and again and again, until it was nothing but a sack of blood and guts and broken bones and nothingness. He raised his fist to the camera and snarled again. Then, just as the rage had consumed him, desperation came and hung on his shoulders like a beggar's coat, weighing him down. He sank to his knees, slumped against the cell wall, reached for the stained and fouled blanket, because there was nothing else to comfort him. His head hung down on his knees, and he wished he had a God to pray to. He had none. Sleep, the great eclipser of time, was what he would pray for. Something that would shrink the night and the thoughts that went with it. But with no God, there was no one to answer his prayer, and his thoughts danced around the fire in his mind like voodoo spirits in a paper hell. Tomorrow. Would there be gunfire tomorrow? Would he kill so that he could live to kill again? What was he to do? Max had given him no plan, no inkling, only that tomorrow was the day he would escape the clutches of good and be freed into the hands of evil. The silken smoke from the aged upman curled into the night. The polished mahogany and vanilla breath of the Richard Hennessy cognac, rising unseen with it. Cupping his hand, he pulled the coexistence of their fragrances towards his nose. He never tired of the sheer hedonism of his life. Plot. There had been a shift in the plot. What was it? Prince Howard lowered the tip of the upman, barely touching it to the Richard Hennessy before raising it to his lips and tasting both. To some, a change in plot, an unknown change, would be enough to cancel the play, leaving it stillborn until a new plot, a certain end, could be scripted. But Howard was not a producer of ordinary plays, of scripted endings. His plays, the tragedies of terror, relied on an unwitting audience and unknowing participants. His actors, save Farkas himself and a few others, never knew the ending until it was already over. So how would a shift in plot alter that? It was the ending that mattered. Whatever happened to the plot, Howard was determined that the ending would not change. He picked up the small piece of paper from the concierge and read it again. "The Farkas delivery that you are expecting is not as ordered. A substitution has been made." No, the concierge did not know who the message was from. He had only written it down because the person did not want to be put through to voicemail. Howard leaned back, drew on the upman, and blew a perfect smoke ring into the air. Piercing it with the cigar, he smiled. Heretofore, he had never actually had a part in one of his plays, only producing them from afar. Now, like the little girl from the country who was discovered slinging hash and taken on to fame, he was being plucked from the crowd and given a leading role in his own play, not distant, but center stage. Who was the message from? The probabilities were endless. The priest, Turk Gisela, a small player, someone he might have met only in passing? The answers were no, no, no. The message had not come from any of them. Then who? There were only three places it could have come from, and it didn't matter which. The CIA, MI6, or Mossad. Take your pick. It was a twist in the plot, but it was the unexpected twists in plots that took theater and life out of the ordinary. He looked forward to it. Tomorrow, raising his glass to his new, unknown players, he made a toast. Break a leg. That's the end of chapter 41.